This week, I want to talk to you guys about Battle Beyond the Stars, Roger Corman's science fiction rip-off-ish sort of Magnificent Seven Star Wars knockoff, also known as The Ship with Tits. So, my experiences with Battle Beyond the Stars. Well, this is a 1980s film, and of course I grew up in the 80s. And this film was sort of the first introduction for me to a Roger Corman film. Of course, Roger Corman is a bit of a... what can I say? How can I word this properly? He is very much of the Larry Cohen ilk, but I actually think Roger Corman is slightly better than Larry Cohen. And so Roger Corman did a lot of like cheap films, a lot of them knockoff, some creations. But I think he relied a lot on other people's talents than he was just more the money man, really. Just trying to fit in a cheap budget to make a large profit. And so, I mean, this film that I'm talking about now, Battle Beyond the Stars, was made for $2 million American and made $11 million at the box office, which it may not sound much, but you've pretty much quadrupled your money. So there was some amazing talent behind this film. And I'm not just talking about Roger Corman. I am talking about people like James Horner, James Cameron, and they pretty much got their start with Corman, and they are integral to this film, making it, that is. You had James Horner, who was well known for all his later work. Some of my favourites is Wrath of Khan, and which you can actually hear in this particular soundtrack as well for Battle Beyond the Stars. And of course, The Rocketeer. I absolutely adore The Rocketeer. And that's one of my things that's one of my want lists on 4K that will probably never happen because Disney are a bunch of arseholes. But yeah, this also has James Cameron's fingerprints all over it. Literally, he designed the character of Nell, the ship that I alluded to earlier, with a ship with tits. And you can obviously see that he has a thing for that. But yeah, it's a great design for a ship too. Of course, all the little weaklings of the left are cannot stand this film for all the iconography, I guess, of breasts, because we have also the Valkyrie as well, the Space Valkyrie, I guess she is, and apparently her tits are falling out virtually of her costume, which is fantastic, and it's a sight to behold. I just fell in love with it. It was a lovely design. All the ships were totally different to Star Wars ships. They each had their individual characters. Like I said, you had Nell, who had big breasts, and this weird hammerhead type front of the ship. And then you had other ships, the Gator, which was piloted by a lizard. And you also had a cowboy who was played by George Papard before he was in the A-Team. But you also have like the hero, rather than Luke Skywalker, you have Shad, who's played by John Boy from the Waltons. And very well played, by the way. And he is the one that's on the mission. And it's pretty much Magnificent Seven, so he has to go around and try and find people who will battle for his planet that is being it's going to be occupied by a tyrannous dictator who's just going around in a big ship, who strangely has a ship that can destroy planets. They get given 7 days to get ready for this big occupation, but before then they pretty much massacre a lot of the people to say, hey, this is what happens if you don't do as we ask. So that was that character is played by John Saxon. He is a real nasty character, and he's actually like surrounded by mutants, people with not augmentations, but just like they've done some sort of experimentation on all of them. And John Saxon himself gets he replaces parts of his body with other aliens or whatever to keep living, and so that actually plays a part in the story as well. But the core of this story is the fact that it is literally the Magnificent Seven in space. So a lot of the people that he hires, that John Boy hires, Shad, they're not very nice people. Also, Robert Vaughan's in it from The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and he was actually in the Magnificent Seven as well, and he plays a not very nice person as well, which is, what you kind of need to help with like farmers who cannot really protect themselves and defend themselves. I think he did it as a favour maybe for Roger Corman, since Roger Corman helped get him into employment as well. He did a very early film for Roger Corman. It was like The Village, Shyamalan's movie. It was an early precursor to that. So, of course, Shyamalan most likely ripped it off, but Corman did it first. So, yeah. As far as the special effects go, some of them are fucking phenomenal, especially in this 4K release in America that they did recently, and that I watched. The detail in the ships, I felt like I was watching a Star Trek film. I really did. It was just that good. Some of the effects are pretty cheap. By effects, I mean the makeup and that sort of thing. You can see it's sort of like the robots in it aren't actual like proper robots. They're more like Woody Allen from Sleep. If you've ever seen that. So they're like wearing silver makeup and they're sort of like looking like just humans that are trying to pretend they're robots, And you're just like, oh, that didn't age well. But I love it. It's great to have such a to have a film that is somewhat, maybe back then in the 80s, mediocre, to now watching it and going, I'm really, really enjoying this film, because even despite all its cheapness, because they're putting the money in the effects themselves, as the spaceships flying and everything. All the rest of it, the battles on the ground and everything, looks like something from Buck Rogers, so, which isn't a bad thing if you're growing up in the 80s and that. It's just aged not that well, but I still love it. So anyway, to see all these characters and when they get all together, and then we don't find out what happens to half of them, but, Robert Vaughn, George Papard, the Valkyrie with the nice tits, and the slip nipples, we will find out what happens to them, but the other characters, like we find out what happens to the lizard guy, but we don't find out what happens to his offsiders. It's a bit like, now when you're a kid, you probably don't notice those things, but as an adult, you kind of notice is like, hey, whatever happened to that barbarian guy? Whatever happened to those two short little alien fellas that just disappeared after they did their magic trick? And so, yeah, it can be a little bit confusing. I don't think kids today would enjoy this film. I'd be interested to know if anyone has shown their child this film recently, but I don't think they get it. I don't think they get it at all. And it's just a shame that this film hasn't really... It's got cult status, but it's still just cult status. It just hasn't gotten to the height. Although, it could easily be remade. Anyway, maybe a little bit of rose-tinted glasses on this film, but I loved it either way. It's a lot better than the slop we're being served up today. It's beautiful in 4K. I really highly recommend it. The details of the ships and the special effects and everything really do, the actual spacecraft and everything really do hold up. I love that intricate detail, and it's the sort of movie that we need today. So anyway, that's it from me. I really do hope you check out this film. If you like this content, please remember to like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs at some stage, and I thank you all for watching. If you don't know who I am, I'm Matt Pott, and I'll see you next time.